Well, hi there, and welcome to my shade. I mean, the shade of the sycamore tree. In case you're new here, my name is Brandon, and I grow things southeast of Houston, Texas. That's Zone 9B. And I grow shade in this garden a lot of the time. And today I've got to do a little bit of maintenance on this sycamore tree that came up from seed, that landed here in this spot, which may not be the most perfect spot. But I decided that it would be useful here, and I don't know, its time may be limited. As it gets larger and larger, I may have to eventually consider removing it. But for today, we're just doing a little bit of trimming. And I should have done this a little bit more towards the end of the winter, but I try to film most things that I do here in the garden, and this is just one of those things that kind of got away from me. So that's all right. I just want to show y'all what I'm doing today and talk about why. Now, I've got a couple of tools behind me here. I'm actually missing one of my tools. I think, honestly, that most of them are in the house. Okay, I tried to be prepared for this video. I would have liked to have done it a lot earlier in the day, but there's this thing called I can't wake up early enough. All right, let me see here. Let me adjust here. Oh no, I don't know why my gimbal all of a sudden has decided that the control for that I usually use to zoom in is now being used to turn the phone in a circular motion. I don't quite get that. So electric pruners are a bit of overkill for this, but one of my tasks that I do a little bit more often than others is just to make sure that when I'm walking under these trees that the little branches are not hitting me in the head, mostly because I have the worst ADHD and possibly autism undiagnosed, and I get overstimulated really badly by things touching my hair, ripping little pieces of my hair out and causing them to touch my face. So recently I have discovered a hack for this, kind of like the other autistic people who have trouble with sounds and they wear the headphones. I found these hair nets at the grocery store, and they keep all my little hairs from flying around so well, and it has been a real blessing the last week or two wearing these because they literally keep all of my little hairs in place. But if I walk underneath something and a little branch catches my hair, it can rip the hairnet off, thus negating the entire point of them. So anyways, as I was saying, now I've got pretty much all of the major branches here trimmed off that were in the way. They're just little small things, but there may be a major branch here that I still have to deal with. I really try to prune off as little as I possibly can. I already pruned off one branch here recently. It's healing over quite nicely. But this one here is just maybe barely in a spot where I don't want it. I think I'm gonna try to leave it for now. If I had my more detailed pruners on me, I would be pruning off probably just all the little branches. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and talk as I go get my pruners. This is terrible of me to forget things like this, but it happens. So, where are they? Okay, oh, there they are. All right. Okay, pruners acquired. I hope this microphone works that far away. I'm pretty sure it does. So, shall I move the camera for this? That is the question. I think it would be valuable. So, as we are looking here, this gimbal is on all kinds of stuff today. All right. So yeah, I really don't want to have to prune off this branch here. So what I'm thinking is I might come in and just prune off some of these little lower pieces that are kind of hitting me in the face as I walk by, or the top of my head, as I mentioned. It's really not the worst thing to prune off the branches and the bottoms of the branches. the little offshoots. It's one of the more harmless things that you can do. Not that pruning trees is overly harmful if you're doing this little detailed stuff like I'm doing, but that really helps a lot. You see now I'm really not getting hit by any of this stuff as I'm walking by. And now it's time to do the more difficult stuff. So I do have a lot of work that I need to do up in the canopy, but this tree is pretty difficult to get up into. So we're going to see how much I can do. I've got a couple of tools here for this, so I'll try to use my from the ground tools as much as I can, like the grab and cut and hold pruners here. What I'm looking for is any branches that are growing straight into the middle of the canopy. It's best to go ahead and remove those. You don't want those to grow up into a nice strong branch and then cause trouble down the line. A lot of times the tree will kind of self-prune these things out. You might notice how a lot of the ones I'm taking off are a lot smaller. It's because if they're not getting enough sun, because they're in the middle of the canopy here, they tend to not be what the tree focuses in on growing. So that's how trees kind of take care of themselves. They self-prune all the time. There are some rules to this, but again, I am not here to tell you how to do things or to really teach you how to do things. I'm just showing you what I'm doing, and I'm always kind of experimenting. But there are some great videos out there, on YouTube especially, talking about how to prune younger trees especially, because if you can get your pruning dialed in on a younger tree, then you have far less to worry about down the line whenever the tree gets bigger. They talk a lot about things like this. So you see I've got these 2 leaders here, which are fine. I don't mind having multiple leaders. You just have to keep them from being too close together. You have to watch out for the branches coming off of those leaders really running into each other and causing these crossing branches that are really unhealthy. So I'm getting to the limits of what I can cut with this. That wasn't too bad. These pruners can handle really about 1/2 inch pretty easily, and up to 1 inch. They say 1.5 inches, but that's certain types of wood really. Let me make sure that y'all can see this one branch that I'm about to start targeting here. Oh, I thought maybe. Okay, so I'm getting a lot cleaned up in there. Now, I think there's gonna be a branch in the way of y'all being able to see this, but, because yeah, I've got this little branch here. I don't wanna cut that necessarily. I kinda like that, but I do need to start getting up in here and dealing with branches like this that really jut into the center of the tree, and then there's another one here. Oh, joy. This tree's actually getting big enough now where I can probably climb it, but we're not gonna do that today. Today, I'm going to see if I can get the ladder up close to it and use my hand pruners. So let me set the ladder up here. You may have noticed that I'm becoming very, very shy about editing lately. I'm getting a little bit lazy with the YouTube videos. And I mean, I'm not trying to have like some heavy production value or anything. I'm just trying to show and document what I'm doing in the garden, because in the past I have really failed to just document the changes over time. I mean, I have little bits of video all over the place on my iPad and stuff that show my journey. All right, so I think that shows well. That kind of show my journey, and unintentionally showed like how I've gotten in and out of certain plants. I think y'all might need to be actually in a little bit of a different position to see some of this. Let's see. Maybe over here. Oh, the dogwood is getting in the way. This is part of my plan, is to like have layers of plants like you see the dogwood here, but The trouble is that it doesn't really allow for filming very well. Oh, let me make sure I'm still recording. If y'all hate this style of video where I basically make no cuts and edits, please let me know. I will consider changing it, but I think most people don't mind. All right, so now, this ladder's at a bit of an angle. So what I tend to do, and again, this is not instruction, is once I get on the ladder, I keep myself braced pretty well for safety. But I rely less on the ladder and more on the tree. Part of what I'm cutting now, I don't know if y'all could see that, was a branch that got broken by the bottle gourds that I allowed to grow in the tree last year. That was a mistake. That's something I will tell you probably don't do. So I grew the bottle gourds up here, thinking that the tree could handle it, kind of like a trellis. I don't think that was a good idea, just so you know. So we're not doing that this year. I actually have not started my bottle gourd seeds yet, and I would really like to. Okay, that's beautiful. It's coming out very nice. I think there are some branches also that are kind of dead and dying a little higher up, but I'm not sure if I can really get to those. I would kind of like to show them. We did pretty good getting most of this internal stuff out here, though. There's some branches that I really should cut, and I just look at them and I feel really bad about it. So I may delay cutting them for a little while. I'm doing a lot of this pruning a little earlier even than some other people would do, so it's a little less harmful. I try really not to cut anything past a certain diameter. I don't have an exact diameter for you, but I mean, once we're getting up to around an half an inch to an inch, that's when I really try to get these branches cut off. I definitely hate creating big open wounds in my trees. So let's see. Hope y'all are able to see all that pretty well. We're doing pretty good. I think, honestly, that's most of what I needed to do. I really hope that the tree grows a little bit more over the greenhouse, because that's one of my biggest goals here. Let me step back and show you guys and get a little view of the garden here too. You know what I think happened with my tripod? I think I have it on one of the other modes, but I'm not sure how. Okay, I think I got it. There we go. Okay. I was in the FPV mode or something where one of the knobs causes the camera to do different things. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I mean, you can basically see here, we've got the sun is up here currently, actually there behind some clouds. It's wonderfully cloudy right now. I'm so happy about that. But as we get, further on in the day, the sycamore tree really helps to block the sun from this direction. But what I really want is for the sycamore to grow over the greenhouse, even though I know that's a bit more dangerous, and block the sun in high noon. I do have a couple of other successional tree things going on here. I don't know just how much. Let me see. I'll show you all a little bit. My videos are becoming all very informal, so, I have another tree here that came up as a seedling. I get a lot of volunteer trees. Like I said, that was what the sycamore tree was. So here, this thing is an elm tree, and I've got a couple of volunteer elm trees now. I'm gonna show y'all, okay, just so you can get a good visual for what's going to happen with this, because that tree is really small right now, but they get pretty big on their own, and sometimes they go unnoticed like crazy. So that is what happened with this one, and I've been working with this one too to shape it into something that I can use here in the garden. So just like that little one by the greenhouse, this one came up from a seed. I believe they're American elm, so Ulmus americana. And I mean, they turn into this so fast. I have some documentation of what I did with this year. I've got a rope pulling down this main leader this way so that I can kind of alter the shape of the tree to act a little bit as a privacy hedge as it goes this way, and then I'm going to focus on some branches moving over this way, and again creating more not only privacy but also shade as they go. So turning back this way, now you can see I've got so many layers of plants in the garden. I was kind of talking about that a little bit ago, how, you know, it's great for what I actually want to do, but it does make filming a little tricky. So I don't know exactly what I'm trying to show here, but I know it's difficult to see past the mesquite tree here. I really hope Mrs. Mesquite is okay too, because it's a special tree to me and she seems to be having trouble lately. So yeah, so as you can see here, when the bottle gourds broke this half last year, I think they did something to it, whether it's, you know, I don't know if it was just the fact that the branches were shaded out in the later part of the year, or maybe it had something to do with just being shaded in general, but those branches up at the top there are not growing in very well, and that's quite a shame because they are the branches that I really want to grow in to be able to shade the greenhouse. And I don't know if there's anything I can really do about that except for just make sure that everything dead, diseased, and dying is trimmed away, and as the year goes on, hopefully it fills in some more over there. I'm not afraid to pull branches and reshape trees that way, but I just don't know if I can get up there and move that sycamore well enough to get it to do what I want it to do. I know I have talked enough about, well, I think I've talked enough about pulling branches in the past. I've showed it on smaller plants mostly, but let's see real quick, just give you a visual for one of the things I've done recently. It's hard to see any of them because of the layering in the garden, but if you look here, I've got this weeping willow, which is a major focal point for me in the garden, and this branch here that comes out this way was pointed straight up. I probably, future Brandon, please try to remember to add this in the video. I probably have video of it before, and I put a rope down here attached to the ground to pull it down, and then I also attached another rope here that I cannot reach to show y'all, that had a cinder block attached to it to pull the further down part of the branch even more down because of what I'm going for with the weeping willow generally. And that has greatly helped out the structure of the tree up here. But again, you know, some arborist somewhere will probably yell at me for this, but this is how I do my trees. And you know, I am not saying I've had zero trouble with this, but I have had very little trouble with all this. So the weeping willow is doing super great. I'm very happy with how that's going. And I think I'm getting about to the end of what I can say for Miss Sycamore over here. So I get set up. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, I don't know if I'm going to pull one of these leaders over. I'm trying to just work with this tree more naturally and not push it, because these sycamores seem to be a little bit more brittle than something like the weeping willow. But see if I can kind of show y'all what I mean here. See this tallest leader here, if I really wanted to, I could take it and pull it over the greenhouse like this and secure it in place and alter how that is acting and where it kind of hardens off and becomes permanent. And there are some other opportunities for that I actually may take like this. If I took this branch and pulled it down this way, I'm gonna greatly increase how much shade I have going in this direction. And I mean, feeling the branches right now with the pole here, it feels like some of them are much more pliable than others, and I may be able to get away with it. I'm just a little bit worried about doing it with that really hefty leader up at the top, but you know, it might be worth doing. I'm just trying to work as naturally as I can and not have to have so much rope all over the place. By the way, you may see that the dogwood has kind of filled out since I think it was one of the last 3 videos that I did talking about it. It's looking really nice, honestly. Everything is looking really nice. The only trouble is it's the heat. Oh gosh. Yeah. The year progressing is so nice for the garden generally. It's just the heat that really kills me. And I mean, I get used to it as the year goes on, but sometimes, like today, it's just really getting to me. It took me like 2 hours to actually decide to finally get out here and start working on this video, but I really wanted to see you guys and talk about this and also get this work done, because one of my big limiting factors for whether I get work done or not is whether I get it on camera. Okay, y'all. I think that's all I have to say about this today. The sun is coming out from its hiding spot and I'm starting to melt over here. So, you know, if you have some land and some space, don't be too afraid to alter your trees and make them work for you. I know that there's all kinds of fun risks with things like hurricanes and tornadoes, ripping things up and moving things around and causing damage, but there are ways to mitigate that, and you know, I encourage you to play around with it and, you know, see what you can do. I get so much more enjoyment out of having all of the trees and all of the plants, you know, than I get worry from whatever windstorms, tornadoes, etc. So yeah. All right, guys, if you have any questions, things that I did not talk about, or wanted to see how I do things, because again, I'm no expert on any of this. I'm just trying to talk about what I'm doing in practice here, what I'm learning, and how I'm learning it. Please comment and let me know. The algorithm needs all of that. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.